Hey guys and girls, just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Buzzsprout. Start a podcast today with free podcast hosting for Buzzsprout, easy podcasting software for hosting, promoting, and tracking your podcast. Buzzsprout is the best way to publish a podcast online for secure and reliable hosting to full iTunes support. Get started for free, no credit card required, cancel at any time.
Stats are for losers.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Welcome to the Airin podcast. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Airing It Out podcast. As usual, it's your host, Dustin Marion. I am blessed and honored to have a really good friend of mine, Calvin Ackerson. Ackerson. I like that name. It sounds regal. The Ackerson. Where are we from, bro?
It's Finnish.
Finnish. That's probably why I couldn't fucking pronounce it. How do you spell that bad boy?
Ackerson.
Jesus Christ. There's a K in there? Wow. Yeah, no kidding. That sounds like a lot. It's funny that I've had a couple of episodes where I've told people the poignancy of names. Do you ever get upset if someone mispronounces it, or you already know that it's bad, so they're not going to have...
They always mispronounce it.
How do they normally mispronounce it?
Ackerman. I don't know where they get it. It's Ackerson, and they get Ackerman.
It's because every time you see a K, I think you automatically think about acknowledge. And so that's how it's built in, because it's not English.
Well, it's Ackerson. Like when my family first moved over here,
They had to switch it.
they had to switch it because no one, they knew it was Finnish. It sounded a little Irish, and where they were, it was very important that you sound like you're from America.
Yeah, no, that was a lot. It's weird that didn't happen so much with a lot of the Latinos that came here, but I know especially the Italians and the Irish and some of the other European cultures cut down a lot of their names because it was hard to pronounce, and so it automatically gave them like the notoriety of being American, right? Because basically being American, at least back then, was I should be able to fucking pronounce your name.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Smith, Dan, I don't know, Clark, shit like that, that it's clean.
Clean and conformist.
That's what they started with. And then now, I'm glad that it's not the case now, but still, it's just really, really funny, about all that shit. So I'm back to back in it. I'm triple stacking it because I've had 3 interviews today. So
Killing it.
Right.
Killing the game.
I'm trying. It's a lot of work. So I'm going to try to stay in the same vein. I didn't ask my first interviewee this, but were you, because he's an interesting guy, but I like this because I think you're a thinker. When you heard of initially of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Did you think it was flying saucers, or were you buying in? Because there was a lot of people that weren't buying in.
So first off, thank you for having me on the show.
For sure. Sorry about that long-winded intro and all that stuff.
No, it's perfect, but let's get into it.
Let's do it.
When I first heard about Corona or COVID-19, I believed it. I believed it because I was looking to all the hype. I was like, there's so much going on in the world right now.
China hype, right?
China hype, yeah, because we were where I was at the time. It was
close.
Yeah, I was really close, and then
For the
dealt with.
listeners, he was close. He was in Hawaii.
I was on a big island in Hawaii, which is 90% of it is tourism based. And it was during that time that we had so many out of country visitors. So we had people from Japan, we had people from China, we had tons of people from Europe, and it was just that time of year. And when we first heard about it, it was just like, oh, it's never going to get to Hawaii. It's like, we're going to be safe. We're going to be fine. And then as things went on, they're like, Corona's already here. It's already been here before it was an issue. Like it was on the island around November. That was like the first recorded case. And that's when I got sick. So I was sick in November. And although I never got tested for it because I didn't want to get tested for it, and then I wouldn't be able to leave the state, because when Corona happened, we all started hearing about it around January. Then people started getting a little crazy about it. And then in February, things started dying. And then around March, I think it was Tuesday when I found out, I got a text from my boss, hey, we're going to have to shut down. And this was just out of left field. I'm working in a restaurant. I'm working 5 days a week. I think it's 6 or 7 shifts. And all of a sudden, it's just gone. It's just my income is gone. And, you know, I've never had a problem working for restaurants. I've never had a problem making money. But now I don't have any way to make money. And I was trying really hard not to be on unemployment. It has to do with personal issues. Like, I never wanted to feel like a leech, because I know, like, I am able-bodied, I can work, but there is nothing for me. So I think it was around April 8th is when we got out of the island. And it was literally a week before. I was sitting there with my brother, my roommate, and it was like, we got to go. We got to get off the island. Like, there's nothing here. We can't survive. We can't survive the way I want to live here. So we packed up all our stuff, and literally in 7 days we were gone. And it was the last flight before they were shut down for an entire month.
Wow. So homeboy or homegirl calls you up, says we're closing, right? Mm-hmm. And from that day, 7 days you boogied?
Yep.
Right. Including that day, or 7 days after that day?
7 days after. I'm sorry. 7 days after quarantine started.
So when did that start?
So that started.
So they closed this place down after how long of the closing of the restaurant / bar / hotel, whatever it was? Because I know it's probably all those things, right?
Mm-hmm. It was the March 29th is when everything closed down.
Fuck. And so 7 days from there, you guys were out.
We were done.
Were you guys panicking about the fact that you might not be able to get a ride? Like, in the sense, like, you might not make the end date for the fucking last plane to leave type of shit?
Yeah, because in literally in a day, the first day we were like, I was looking at flights because I was planning on coming back to San Diego from Hawaii.
Because you already were kind of getting fatigued from island fever.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't call it island fever. It was just like, I had no problem staying on the island, being around water. It was fantastic. It was just, I felt like I couldn't grow as a person, and I was okay with that because I lived in paradise. In paradise, it's not always perfect in paradise.
That's actually a very interesting point of view about the not grow, because at times, right, I think that the island fever kind of gets misrepresented. Only because if you're in paradise, how can you get island fever, right? In a sense, for me, like I grew up in a city, so I'm like, fuck, beach all day's got to be dope. But I guess beach all day doesn't. There's things that there's cause actions from that. Right.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to this. So you're trying to come back, right? And then you're trying to book a trip, but you're scrambling because what? They weren't selling flights, or what's the deal?
So it was a Saturday. We were looking at flights. I was looking at flights, and it was just going to be me. And all of a sudden, the prices shot up. You know, flying to San Diego is expensive. So I was looking around $300-400 for a one-way ticket. Right. That's a lot. And then in a matter of a couple of hours.
What was it normally?
Normally, it was probably around 290, 280, 290 if you do it like
not that bad, 300?
Yeah, 300 was average.
So, right. And then they went to that to 600?
And then it went to 400.
Okay.
So like that's only $100 difference, right? But you know,
it was
like
tough. Right.
No income makes you think different.
No. So you're like, fuck, we got to book this shit immediately. And obviously the powers that be, every time he looked at that shit, it was like the stock market just trending up, right? Like once he booked one, if you looked at it one time, it was 380. You looked at it again, it was like fucking 390, 400. So before we get to that, the island fever thing, right? Not growing. Was it a thing that because you was in paradise, a lot of other folks weren't compelled to grow? Or what was it making you feel that you felt that you were like limited on an island, technically?
So personally, I made a lot of friends through people who were from the island. So they were native, they were born there, all different flocks of life. They all did different things. And it looked like everyone was following a certain type of pattern. Grow up, get married, have kids, start the process over again. And then, you know, you ask like, well, what do you want to do when you're married? Like, what's the goal? They're like, well, we're going to have kids. It's like, okay, in 20 years, your kids are going to be off on their own. And they're like, well, that's not really how it works. We have a big family here. And I'm like, okay, I come from a big family too, but everybody has their own thing that they do. And like, this is just my interpretation of it. Like they might have something where they always do something on their own. And my family was very, once you have kids, you're on your own. Your family breaks off.
Well, I think definitely, and I was just talking about this in an earlier episode, that I think that for the most part, we're extremely tribal, right? And then there's just some places that either move away from that or get closer to that. Some people are kind of supposed to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. Where you're supposed to have that tribal sense where family is important. But I also think you need to leave the reservation. Right. And maybe in leaving the reservation, that brings in more responsibilities. Right. Because you definitely have to feel safer when the shots that you take are kind of protected, right? And for me, especially moving out here, you know, I couldn't really count on the fam like the same way I could count on them when I lived next to them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that a lot of people enjoy that security blanket. I think that there's something that happens to a lot of people that don't leave wherever they're from. And there's a lot of people, especially in New York. If I told somebody that I was going to go to California, they would have said, I don't believe. But that's interesting that you were in that situation only because you're from California, and California, you know, I like to always gush on Cali, but in the sense of growth, there's no other place that would mean that more, right? Like California here, we're going so fast. It's crazy, right? I mean, whether it's being hyper aware, whether it's being politically aware, whether it's being environmentally aware, whether it's your friend that's like an actor or director or a killer bartender, or, you know, this great person that's doing like construction work. Like there's just so many things that people really, even though we're kind of laid back.
Yeah. But people are always they're always making moves.
Yeah, they're grinding.
They're always
out here.
doing something.
And I think maybe that could also be a thing that the Orange counties and the Los Angeleses keep pressure on us, right? Because those other cities are grinding a lot. We're grinding a little less, but it's always like, okay, well, if this doesn't go, then I got to do this. And if this doesn't go, then maybe I have to move to LA. And I think that fear of having to step it up the notch makes you step it up enough notches here that keeps you here.
Yeah.
Right. Where you're like, no, I got to hustle. I don't really want to do the LA thing, because I think there's a huge difference between LA and San Diego by a long shot. And some people might not like San Diego to the fullest, in the sense of the opportunities. But for me, that was one of the things that I really did enjoy. All right, we're going to go back. So you booked a ticket, you book it for yourself, or already at that time you were booking it to book it with your brother?
So it was a Thursday. My dad had called me. He's an aircraft mechanic. He's been doing it for 20 years. And he told us, if you guys are going to get out, you need to get out this week. You guys need, and I say that as we felt trapped. Not that
bro, you're on a fucking island. I would have been shook as shit.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have took me 7 days, by the way.
Yeah.
I would have been like, bro, what can we really take? We're out. Fuck this. Especially when you're talking about quarantine and no flights and you can't leave. I would have been scared. This was some shit.
Yep. The next day I sold my car. I put my motorcycle on a boat, sent the bro's car over.
Damn, you love that motorcycle.
It's my baby.
Just so you know that I remember you. You sent that shit over there. You sent it back. I'm sure you could have bought another motorcycle, but out of all the things, that motorcycle came back and went with, which I think is awesome.
It was part of my escape on the island.
Oh, to be able to. That's actually pretty dope. It must have been amazing. So you had like motorcycle diaries via Shea Guerrero, but you had motorcycle diaries in motherfucking Hawaii.
I put 6,000 miles on it in less than a year. On Hawaii. I went around the island a couple times. It was fantastic.
I was just going to say, what is it like driving on a little thing that probably nobody rides through, that you can fit with your bike and just see the full beauty of either the sun, the beach, the fucking nature? I mean, Hawaii is supposedly beautiful. I've never seen a bad photo. The only photo that scares me about Hawaii is the volcanoes. Go ahead.
So the volcanoes were deactivated most of the time that I was there.
Sure.
There's only probably like a day's worth of driving that you could possibly do. And after that, it's all the same roads. It's all the same roads. But like one thing that the motorcycle gave me, it's like a Harley imitation Kawasaki. You know, it's a smaller bike. It doesn't have so much high end power, but it's got a lot of torque. So I took it through places that you probably wouldn't think a bike could go through. It's got high clearance. So I was literally going through bushes in Brussels. And it's not that these weren't trails. It's just they were trails that were taken back. So like people out of the year they'll take their motorcycles and they'll go through it. And then in a couple of months, the shrubbery would come back. The flora would just dominate. And those are the places I like to go. And like there is a Waipio Valley, like you can't get the bike down there.
What's YPO, by the way?
YPO? I don't know.
YOPO, I don't know.
YPO Valley.
I'm butchering my Hawaiian. I don't even know if that's the language they speak.
So, you know,
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't know a lot about Hawaii, which I think is you're gonna bring definitely an interesting point, because I feel like you get me and I get you. So hearing you explain it kind of gives me a visualization, like okay. So, anyways,
so like the Hawaiian culture is its own. Like,
right.
You know, they like to say, oh, it's Polynesian, or
that's
like,
what I thought I was going to call Polynesian the language, but I was like, that's fucking wrong.
no, it's so much different, and it's very unique, because it's a lot of like, there's a lot of body language, like how you say certain words, like mahalo and like things like that. Those
That's kind of
like
cool. That
aloha.
makes sense with the whole fucking this, right? Like the finger thing,
So-
and why they do the body gestures. Because I feel like they're like super bros.
Yeah,
right?
super bros,
right?
yeah.
Like it kind of, because I'm a bro, right? And the 1st thing I'd be like is a fucking thumb up, or like, what's up, bro? With the same physical nature. So that's actually interesting. I wonder if that's kind of where that really came from, pushing west, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I'm a bro new. You know, we're called douchebags in New York.
And like you have to come with their culture with a lot of respect. You really have to. Like, you're a foreigner to their land. This is their home, you know. And people are like, oh, the Hawaiian culture, you like, let's have a Hawaiian themed like luau and stuff like that. And like, those are like the pinnacle points, and they don't see anything past that. Like, fire dancing in Hawaii is much different than fire dancing across the world, because there's nothing like that. You know,
They do it the best there.
I mean, that's a matter of an opinion.
Sure.
In my opinion, yes.
I'm saying what you're talking about. Yeah, like, right.
So-
that's what you're arguing. I got you.
You know, there's a lot of screaming. There's a lot of like physical, like if
So
you're
almost like martial arts, where you're doing like kias and shit. A lot of stuff like I mean, I've seen some of the videos, so I could get the correlation.
and when you're there, you feel them, and you know, like they're connected to the floor, and you're connected to them.
like they spin in the fucking bar, and it's like
Yeah.
right, and they're like almost making it. It almost seems like it definitely seems martial artists, but continue.
So like a lot of their culture is fighting. So like they love fighting.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That's
and
why
they're great at it. Like I did a little jujitsu out there, and
Really?
I've never rolled with these people. Like, they don't have belts or anything
this
like
is
that.
interesting. I love this.
But
Keep going.
they're good, and what they really strive for is they're not trying to dominate you as a part of, they're trying to get better with your skill level. So as you try to like different moves, like let's say you shoot on them, they're going to stop you, or they might let you do it just so that they can get closer to something that they want to try. And it's, when you're on the mat, it's nothing to do with like, oh, I hate this guy, I hate that guy. Like, there definitely is that involved, but you show respect, they show you respect. And as much as they say like, oh, you're an outsider, like a haole, like I've never felt nothing but respect from the people that I have tried to, you know, be a part of the culture. I don't want to change their culture in any way. I wanted to experience the real culture of Hawaii. And I feel like I did a pretty good job of that. And so you got the aunties and the uncles, you know, they're teaching you life lessons. And the reason why I want to do the career I want to do now is because of an old firefighter who he helped me out when I was struggling. I was going through
in Hawaii.
In Hawaii.
A firefighter in Hawaii inspired you.
Yeah, he inspired me. I didn't know his name. We never exchanged names. He just told me that if you're looking to die for something, you're going to die. You know, you need to look for something to live for. And
You know, that's funny, because I've spoken to a lot of people in the military, and a lot of the ones that came back always talked about when they were in those situations, they focused more about living than dying. The more that they worried about dying was like, you almost kind of speak it into flourishing.
Yeah.
It's weird. So that's a very interesting point. So what was it about this per se fireman that you never spoke to that just kind of had you at awe when you watched him?
so he was a retired firefighter. I had crashed my motorcycle. I was drunk. I was driving, and
By the way, we just had a legal attorney talking about DUIs. This is fucking hilarious.
well,
Go ahead, bro.
like,
By the way, speaking of that, because I know you're not going to forget, and I'm not going to forget. I'll write it down so I don't forget. Is everyone fucking drunk driving in fucking Hawaii, bro?
so if drunk driving was a superpower, it would definitely belong to a Hawaiian. You know, and I say that with the most respect.
Also, too, because we were talking about it, right? because she broke down some of these things about DUIs and shit. Bro, of course you're drinking and driving when you're 6'4" and like 300 pounds. And I mean in the best possible way. Like you basically have like hundreds of rocks in the best possible shape. Bro, it would take probably a fucking cake to get those guys drunk, right? Because we were talking about body mass index. Yeah. And that's how you measure how fucked up you are, right? How much, bro, if you're a fucking house, you're drinking all night.
I mean, they're a different breed. They're strong. They're just strong
For
people,
sure, bro.
Just ridiculous. And they can drink a lot. They party a lot.
Facts.
They have fun. They're, everyone breaks out into a fight, but I think
it's part of the culture, bro.
It's part of the culture.
Yeah.
And
it makes sense. Now that looking at it from this different lens, I'm kind of glad that we're able to break it down. It makes sense because that's kind of a little bit of, like I told you, I think a lot of things as I'm starting to understand this COVID thing and why people freaked out or got a lot of anxiety, why we weren't together. There's something in our DNA that's very tribal. And those guys are closer to the tribe than we would ever know, right? Like they're tribe, but they're still sophisticated. It's not like you went to the fucking, you went to Peru and you're dealing with that kind of native. Yeah. You're dealing with a native that has an iPhone.
and like, right? It's hard for them to open up to people because people who moved to Hawaii. So like, I felt this a lot, like when I first moved there. So like, couple months go by, I haven't made any friends. I feel like I'm good at making people.
Okay, so boom, let's go back to this real quick because we're gonna jump all over the place. This is gonna be a good one. So no friends 2 months in, 1 month in, 3 weeks?
6 months before I actually had a decent homie that I could
be
call
like, right.
and like be
hey,
friends with.
What's up? Yeah. Come pick me up or let's go get lit or any of that stuff.
Yeah. So like they're friendly with you. Like if you're there.
But we're talking about like us, like looking for a brother.
They don't want someone to come into their lives and then leave because that's how the island is, like you don't.
Wow, that's a heartbreak that I didn't even think about, right? Because it hurts.
Yeah. It hurts them. It hurts their entire family.
Something, and then they boogie because they don't like not Hawaii, but they want to see different. Before we go more into that, it almost makes me think because I always love bringing this fucking thing up, and I was just talking to Brandon, Uncle Salty, on the show about this in The Matrix, where Morpheus. You see The Matrix, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Morpheus.
Favorite movie.
Perfect. Wow, favorite movie. Okay, that's good. I didn't know that. I want to ask you what's your favorite scene after this, but we'll go back and forth. Morpheus is tied behind his back, and Smith is talking to him, and he's like, "You know what's so crazy about you guys? We gave you a utopia, and you rejected it."
Yeah.
And what you're telling me right now almost makes me think like you could literally give someone paradise, but that's not enough. Isn't that weird? Like the mind won't allow you to just chill.
The subconscious is stronger than the conscious.
Right.
And people you always think this, like what I want, right? You think about what you want.
Down. My shit would start with beach.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
Because I think maybe that's an indoctrination of how they set it up, right? So,
and it's beautiful. Like the first couple months, like I'm going to the beaches, I'm hanging out.
Couple months is 2 or 3?
Probably like the first month. So within the first month, I went to the beach. It was great. Right. Like I was hanging out in this beautiful apartment in the middle of a forest. I lived in a bush. Like there was the apartment, and then there was the people above me, and then there was all the shrubbery that cut us off from the rest of the world.
Basically, you were like in the earth.
I was in the earth, yeah.
Right. Yeah, like you're filling the pipeline.
Yeah, like there were spiders outside, right? And I'm not an insect dude. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not an insect dude.
Right. And the nature is around you. Yeah. They're everywhere.
But you got to keep the spiders because they keep out.
I always keep those fuckers.
You got to keep the spiders.
Facts.
They keep out the other ones.
Spider ever. I already know that because I enjoy evaluating predators.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's the best raid you could ever get. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, homeboy, just hold it down out here. It isn't like an ecological balance of having them. It's almost like why you wouldn't want to kill a bee for the most part.
Yeah.
They're doing their job. And the spider's the best because he's killing most of those insects you don't want to fuck with.
The bad ones, yeah. The mosquitoes, like we never had a problem with mosquitoes, even though we were up in the mountains and we got like sweet skin. We've always been attacked. No, I already know
that's crazy. So if Florida gets all the bullshit, there's mosquitoes in Hawaii.
Oh yeah,
and if you're not like sprayed up, you get destroyed.
Well, the more you spray, the more they're attracted to you.
See, that's why I never wear that shit.
You gotta do that natural. There's citronella, like you can do citronella, but citronella is
candles are. I've never heard of this word until Tabby told me. But I've seen citronella now. Never heard of it in New York. All we knew was bug spray, not to kill them, raid to kill them, but then bug spray to put on your body.
Yeah.
So you're saying that to put it on your body was a little bit more inviting.
Well,
to them,
as soon as it wears off, because it creates this barrier, right? And then you have all of these. You have these people at a gate, right? So instead of just having like a walkway, somebody's going to walk through that walkway. You put a door there. There's one person there. Then there's two people there. Now there's three people there.
It's like the line of Starbucks,
and they're all trying to get in. They're all trying to get in. Exactly.
Basically, putting fucking bug repellent is basically like fucking having. It's like going to Starbucks because we're in October and getting a fucking any pumpkin spice thing. You're gonna be waiting online. This is probably more pre-COVID. So while that's actually a very interesting point of view, I never even thought about it like that. So that's why. So the post version of this, whatever they've created, is what makes them interested more in you. Because I swear to God, I've probably been bitten less than most people, and I've been to Florida, I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to tropical islands that they are there. I've never once put the bug spray on. Never.
It all has to do with what you eat too.
Really?
So like a lot of garlic, a lot of cayenne, like a lot of peppery, a lot of spicy
food. I feel like when you're on that island, the access to those things are not as available. I feel like if you live there and you're shopping, you're cooking with that, right? So like, for example, if I went to Puerto Rico or Hawaii or Florida, I'm not eating anything spicy, right? I'm probably getting fresh fish if it's one or the other. Actually, from all three, and then anything else off of that, right? Like I'm not spicy is not really my thing, but that's another thing too. That's what I originally thought it was.
Okay,
I thought it was more so your diet.
Yeah,
right, because they know they can smell it. That shit, we can't see it with our eye, but you're literally like hovering shit out of your body.
Yeah, the more sugar you have in your body, the sweeter your blood is to insects.
Okay,
so that's why like. Like you have all these people like drinking sodas and like stuff like that. And I love soda. Like I've had a kidney fail with soda, but I'm still drinking soda.
I don't know if I like soda this much to have a kidney fucking failure, but I do like soda.
I was young and dumb.
No, I like it. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm just saying, I don't know. I actually, when I was young and dumb, I was a juice guy. So maybe that's what saved me a little bit, but soda's fire. Yeah, like an ice cold Coke or ice cold ginger ale, hot day. It's almost like beer.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
yeah.
something
definitely.
about the carbonation and the ice and the thing.
The sweetness. Your body feels rejuvenated.
It works. Maybe it's like that sugar rush that kind of gets you momentarily high. But yeah, that's interesting. So yeah. So okay, boom. You're in the bush. You're not getting fucked with the mosquitoes because we got the spiders all over the place. Was the spiders one of the only things, or there was all types of nature?
So they have some apex insects out there. So you got the centipede. That's like the number one that people see a lot. They got different.
By the way, why is it called an apex animal?
They're invasive. So they come in and then they destroy the other insects.
A fucking caterpillar?
Centipede.
I'm sorry, a centipede is gangsta like that?
Oh, centipedes are gnarly.
Really? So what are they fucking up?
So they fuck up everything. They're very carnivorous. They'll eat their own kinds.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I love science. Let's get a little science. So I didn't know that.
So they have a stinging poison, or stinging venom, I guess. Poison is if you eat them and then you get sick.
Go ahead.
It's probably the worst pain I felt in a long time when I got bit.
In Hawaii?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a stinging,
so like
it's a nagging pain.
You got it in the bed? Or like you just walking around and it caught you by accident?
So I passed out on the beach. And
on the
so
beach.
As I was getting ready to get up and I got into my car, I got into my brother's car, all of a sudden I felt something crawling on me and then just a sharp pain. And then it was dull for a little bit. I found out it was a centipede because that's what everyone told me. It's like, you probably got bit by a centipede. I'm like, how do you get into a car? And they're like, they'll crawl up. They'll go anywhere they possibly can. And I had the windows down, like I was total beach vibing. Brother has a Jeep. I was using that, and that was awesome. And for the rest of the day, it was just awful. The pain got worse and worse and worse.
What did the bite look like? Did it look like a mosquito bite?
No. Okay, so it's like a pinch.
So
they have pinners.
No, I've seen that. So then you had like 2 bites.
So yeah, it looks like a little like pinch, and so like I got soft skin, so that like you could see the folds of where he bit down. And my friend said, "You're lucky it was a big one because the small ones hurt more." So
that's usually how it goes, bro.
Yeah.
So I find it fascinating just because you said pass out on the beach. Was that a regular routine for you, just getting fucking lit and just? I mean, because you are from the beach, right? You grew up
in the sand,
yeah. Because that's one
Ocean
of the
Beach.
Things, yeah, I found even more interesting when we have spoken because you're a beach life guy, and I mean, you could borderline say beach bum, right? And
I was when in the younger years,
but not like beach bum like that. Like to the now level where like every fucking day we're here.
Yeah.
Like a mall rat. But the opposite, right? So you're already someone that's like understanding all that shit and being around it. So you would think that the nostalgia would rub off, or like go away, right?
Yeah.
So over there, was it just so much more cooler access that you were just like, fuck it, there's nowhere else to crash, or not crash, but get lit. So we just getting like, is everybody just fucking getting lit on the sand all day, every day?
Yeah.
Holidays,
pretty much, yeah.
Days, right? Because that's all you got, right? It's either the fucking sand or you're climbing some greenest fucking hike in your life and you run into waterfalls, right?
Yeah.
That's all they got there. I don't mean it like that, but that's how gorgeous it goes. It goes from great beach to fucking green waterfalls.
Well, see, the thing is that like we've created a lot. Like, so I grew up in San Diego, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that you can do outside of these things, like going hiking and the beach. And San Diego beaches are beautiful.
Right. San Diego has actually a very interesting thing because it can do that. Mm-hmm. Meaning you could do the beach. You could go downtown.
You got beach, you got hiking, you got more. In Hawaii, I felt like you got beach, you got hiking, you have the bars. So I didn't drink when I first got there. Why? You were shook or you were just trying to be a good boy? I was just trying to be a good boy. I was just trying to, focus down.
That's you, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
We're doing a little Joe Rogan style, getting lit while we're doing this thing. But go ahead.
And after the first month, I went to the beach. I wouldn't say every day, but definitely like 3 or 4 times a week. After that, probably went to the beach maybe a handful of times.
Wow. So you beasted and then you were like, I'm capped.
I'm done.
So again, just because my brain is going all over the place, you said 2 months and you were done, or that first month?
That first month that I went there, wow. I was pretty much done with the beach.
Damn, you see, you're a beast. You can't go every day for like 30 days straight. It would wear off anybody. It's like, the saying of like, show me a hot girl and I'll show you a guy that's tired of being with her.
Yeah.
You can't, beauty has to be cherished in the sense that you can't keep dipping to the well. Because then you lose perspective. Mm-hmm, so you fucking on this great beach, you getting passed out, and then after that, you were there what, months, right? Did you graduate a year there, or you?
Oh yeah, I was there for probably, if you want to get into the months, I was there for 16 months. Mm-hmm. So almost a year and a half.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Right, because fuck, the half we're already over. Just fucking COVID took it from you, because potentially if COVID didn't act like a jerk, you would have stayed.
No, I was actually planning on moving back.
You said you were sorry, I followed that up, but you were already going in because of what we spoke about earlier. I'm saying for me, like, I think I would. It's funny. I would really like to see what that's like, to turn up the island life at that level. Only because I don't call it island life, but just to be beach every day, every day, every day, every day. I mean, I spent. You know what's weird? So I'll see you. And I'll raise you, but it was different. So I'll see you and I'll raise you the beach in Puerto Rico. But now as I think about it, I did a month there. So I did 3 straight weeks of beach. And then I did 1 week of the thing. Like in the sense of, I always say that shit, but the thing, because like people know what I'm saying. The city experience and the rural experience. Like I mixed it up, right? Yeah. So it was like city, I always call it camp, but it's not camp. It's campo in Spanish, but it always fucks me up. Like the rural, the countryside, and then I did 3 weeks of beach. And I wasn't ready to leave, bro. I was actually mad that I didn't do more beach. Like, but that also could be my indoctrination. You grew up on a beach.
Yeah.
So maybe you blew yourself out. Like, I feel like because I'm a city kid, I would like to see how far I could do if it was beach every day.
Well, see, I moved out there without a purpose. I was there because of my brother. I was looking for something different. I wasn't vibing with San Diego. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. And there was all these personal reasons that I wasn't enjoying the place I lived. Right. So I went somewhere else to see if I would enjoy it.
You picked a hard place to try to enjoy that.
Oh, it's difficult. It is very difficult to like sustain yourself.
Yeah. Not only that, but I feel like because I know you and you're a man that's constantly thinking, when you have too many thoughts,
Oh, dude. Okay, so one of the biggest issues I had in Hawaii was the time to think.
Right,
There was a lot of downtime.
Yeah, fuck that. If you would have went to an LA or motherfucking Detroit or San Francisco or Miami or motherfucking like a crazy city that just drove you nuts, you would have been so distracted. But when it's literally like, this is gonna be the beach 24/7, it's gonna be amazing, but that's what we got. It's either you're gonna hear every thought you ever had, everything that you thought about bad, good, or indifferent, reflection, all that shit is gonna come to the surface because you basically, again, I guess that's why they make that saying. That saying makes sense now. That pun, or not that pun, that cliche.
Yeah.
You're on an island.
Yeah, you're on an island. There's, and maybe it's I didn't see it, maybe I didn't feel it, maybe I didn't get close enough to the actual culture, but I felt like there was a bottle cap. There was a cap. There was a top of what you could achieve there. And I didn't like that type of mentality. As
I've tried to become more spiritually enlightened over the last few weeks, I wonder if your presets fucked that up.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
I'm
like
from San Diego.
If you went there and like really, really took it in, it actually could have been the moment where you would have truly found yourself and then maybe evolved in a different way. I'm not saying that whatever you did was bad, but because you already went in there from fucking OB and PB and every B's and all these great beaches, it's like beach, like you were looking for a little bit more flavor. And then you went to a place that basically, forget about knowing someone. If you don't fucking like have the real key to the presidential suite, you're not even going at all.
Yeah.
Right. So they treat everybody as we're being nice, but it's at a distance because you're a tourist.
Yeah.
So you get the tourist love. It's like, you'll be out of here in no time flat, which you actually, you outbeat them. But again, you did leave.
I did leave. No, and like this,
they won.
This is what I told a friend of mine, Halani, and I was like, I like the island. I love you guys, but I'm an empath. I thrive on the people around me. If they're not shooting for the stars, neither am I.
Right.
And that's what I want.
Right. That makes sense.
So I got to.
So basically, you already identified early on that wasn't going to happen, and it might have been detrimental to your entire presence and being.
It took about 6 months before I was like, maybe this island life isn't for me.
Got it. Because that's actually a really weird thing to kind of come, because I don't know. I mean, maybe because you were so turned up over here, you would have noticed it. I feel like if someone came from the city, they might have lasted longer. And I don't mean by that. I mean, like, they would have been so enamored with all the beauty that conscious awakening that you hit 6 months in could have took them 10 years or 5 years or whatever, right? Like, the nostalgia would have never rubbed off. It would have always been dope to get faded, because we've never got faded at the beach. We've never passed out at the beach, and we never buried a pig and found it.
Yeah.
And we've never fucking walked up a path and jumped into the most cleanest, beautiful, amazing waterfall water.
Yeah.
And then, man, shit, you want to be a little risque and you want to, impress a chick, and you take it to a volcano.
Yeah.
That's not normal motherfuckers' lives, bro.
No. And when you try to make this paradise like your normal everyday, it becomes everyday mundane. And now a waterfall doesn't do the same thing that it did the first time. It's like a drug.
I was just going to say, it's just like drugs.
It's just like a drug.
When you beast on it, you begin to build a tolerance.
Yeah, because you'll never have as much fun the first time you did acid.
What a fucking thing. See, this is... So again, we're going to go back to the other thing. This is what gets me crazy. This simulation we're in. And I'm not saying that I'm pro simulation theories, but it's so funny how some of the chips start to stack up in that way, where, back to the Morpheus thing, I could give you the most amazing thing. And I don't even bring the Bible into this. I could literally give you some hot chick, all the lions, all the bears, all the tigers, oh my. And you, because of knowledge, right? Because you could think of the book of Genesis as a metaphor, in the sense is, once you're aware, you want to leave paradise.
Exactly. And there's the Utopian theory. So it was a study, I think, in the 87, and it's been documented up to the 1800s, and they've known about it, sociologies and the sciences have known about this. When you give the utopian society, so they gave a utopian society to rats. So everybody had a mate, everybody had food. There was nothing that you had to struggle for. Wow. Things turned sideways.
Of course they did.
They turned sideways. like, I don't know how you judge homosexuality in rats, but homosexuality rose up. And I don't think that has anything to do
because it was the only taboo thing left on the island.
it was taboo. Yeah, yeah. And I'm not
So basically, I'm not saying that, right? But we're talking about conscious science thought. We're not saying that same-sex sex is bad, but what we're saying is because in this particular example, because everything was okay, the only thing that could have been on a fringe potentially was that, and the rats de-evolved in that way to behave in that matter because it seemed like that was something that basically, I'm gonna get nasty, but they basically got tired of getting pussy and being fed all day, so they were like, I want to switch it up.
and like homosexuality has been recorded in most animals, most mammals, everything like that. And I'm bisexual myself. So I understand the appeal of like, the same sex or the opposite sex. I get that. But what they were judging was that everybody had a prospective mate. Everybody had that. It was available to them. It started, everybody had food. These animals started fighting each other over territory. Because that was the
in the Utopia shit?
In the Utopia, yeah.
Wow.
So they
got more angry. Wow.
So they got
not only they became into, let's say, some of that fringe stuff that we're talking about, because I don't even want to put it into any kind of light, because I think to each his own. But then they started rioting on top of it.
Yeah, rats were fighting each other.
Wow.
And there was no. And see, the thing is that I think
That's such a trip.
As animals, we need stuff to conquer, and if we don't have that, we'll make it.
Wow. That's another weird thing too. I was trying to explain this to Tabitha, and I'm not going to go too much into it, but there really is something about that.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Like, and I'll downplay it and I'll call it winning.
Yeah, definitely. There's you want to win
all the time.
Why are you playing the game?
In your shit. Like, you don't even know why you want to win. Right? Like, it's in your DNA.
It's primal.
Yes.
You want to be the top. You want to.
It's something in the blueprint that is the same shit with the Lord of the Flies book.
Yeah.
Right? You
Definitely.
leave fucking 8 kids. They're all sophisticated, great backgrounds, but you put them, you get back to my tribal shit. You get them in the tribe, shit starts to change. And everything, there's a natural selection, natural process. I know we're so gassy. Not from the behind, but from the throats. That was one thing.
Well, you just can't hear that one. So
right. Well, you never know if you're fucking pretty noisy. You can pick it up on the mic. These mics are actually pretty fucking dope. But I appreciate you respecting the audio quality and sound. If you gotta burp, it's all good. This is the one thing that drinking the carbonation always fucks me up, because I'm burping a lot, and I think it's okay when you first get on, but as you keep drinking, then it keeps building up, and it's different. I think we'll probably take a smoke break just to put some balance into our lungs. But getting back to the science thing, which is funny because this is supposed to be, I'm not going to say a different interview, but I was trying to go in a different direction, and this is my favorite thing about doing this thing, is that it's not scripted, but that we're leading into this science thing. And as science, it's and more psychology, that the more you give, the more you want to rebel, which is weird, especially in the temperature that we're in. I want to go back to something else. I want to go back to the BJJ.
Okay.
So you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they're doing. They're not doing their own version of Jiu-Jitsu, because I feel like they would definitely switch it up, because if there's still warriors and tribal men on this planet, they're in Hawaii.
So I think it has more to do with like I said about the respect. I think the Hawaiian culture has a lot of respect for other cultures.
Well, you could also kind of correlate. That's why I was trying to say martial arts. When I usually mean martial arts, not saying that the Chinese aren't amazing with wushu, but that's how the Japanese are.
Yeah.
Very similar, right? And so the
Hawaiian culture is its own, but it is a blend of a lot of other things.
Right.
It's very diverse. So when you think about Hawaiian culture, you think of luau's, you think of you don't think about
pigs. Yeah. I don't think about anything Asian. Yeah. But they have the Asian persuasion within their build. Is that what you're saying, right?
Kind of. And the way they respect war. They respect their enemies.
It's an honor thing.
It's very much an honor thing. They would have wars like when King Kamehameha was taken over everything, when he was uniting all of the islands. There would be days where, like, certain instances where, like, let's say a tribe is falling behind. They're hungry. They're, they don't have anything. They were burned down. Like it was like Rogue or whatever. They would stop fighting. They would stop fighting and then they would help them out. And then in a couple of weeks, they'd start fighting again when they were ready. And like they
right. We're not gonna fucking kill like a wounded animal. It's almost like Predator.
Yeah.
Like it can't be an unarmed chick, and even if it's an unarmed dude, it's questionable. The moment you bear arms, now you're ready to rock and roll. I'm only gonna fuck up dudes that are ready.
Exactly. They were very respectful for it.
Right.
They would only kill the warriors
Right.
only if they had to, but they did have to because that was like
We're
they're
fucking
not
going ham right now.
they're not going to stop until they're
correct. I
they're
totally
dead.
get it.
Yeah.
That's a trip. You see, I like that too. Like I said, I'm gonna keep gushing about this because I think it's fascinating because it's the one place I've always wanted to go to. And I had an opportunity once to go, and someone told me to kind of reestablish my culture, which I'm fine with. I'm happy that I made that decision, but I'm also quietly sad that I wasn't able to go to Hawaii because it's been a lifelong dream. And I think a lot of the reasons are because of all those things that you're talking about, especially with that fucking warrior shit.
Warrior
Like,
mentality.
I want to roll up on that. And I'm not saying that I'm going to fuck up anybody, but to be around that, to see it, it has to be impactful. And it has to have a way of like making you understand the bigger picture in things. Because I really think that when you're keeping it basic, it's easier to understand. As the more you complicate your life, you don't fucking see things as clear.
Yeah.
And for them, when it's just like, hey, beach, and we'll fucking grab this, and we'll cook that, and we'll bury this, and it'll be dope, and we're gonna have some drink. We're easy. We're not thinking about like, oh shit. And maybe that was something that potentially turned you off, right? It wasn't that they were, and I'm gonna use this word, and I hope it's not offensive, but, and I'll pick the better word. The fact that they were simple, you seen as maybe they were more interesting and chilling. But the thing is that they found their cheat code in the sense that that's probably the best way to run it. Is just the most cultures are in rainforests.
Yeah.
They're like a tribe at a beach. Who wouldn't get fucked up on Mai Tais every day? Who would never want to leave that place? Who? It's almost like your best dream coming true. Imagine, and this is the thing that we have a problem with. Imagine if you had all your family that you loved, right? But that doesn't work like that because you don't like them. You got this cousin and that. But imagine you did all love all of them. You were able to put them under one fucking umbrella. And it was at the most epic place. And all you guys did was drink, talk, and fucking eat.
Yep.
Why would you want to leave? And so that concept is probably why I was super fascinated with going over there. But yeah, that's so back to the BJJ. Warrior mentality, honor, right? Because I used to do martial arts when I was really young. Is it a lot of is it more grappling that they focus on their jujitsu, or are they making sure that they incorporate the throws and the takedowns and everything else that goes with it? And then because they're fighters, are they bringing in the element of boxing?
So
because I think once you start to do that, you change it.
Where I was, it was just a jujitsu. It wasn't Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Although I've done Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Please tell me.
So like you come in there, there's just a bunch of dudes standing around. You're like, hey, I'm looking to roll. Like I've done some jiu-jitsu in the class, but I'd like to do your beginner class because it's been a while. And if you think you're good at fighting, I know a lot of people in San Diego and a lot of people and anywhere that you love fighting and like stuff like that. And I definitely respect the sport. But if you think you're good, go roll in Hawaii. These people are insane. They're ridiculous. They're bred for war. Like that's what they're there for. They're super good at it. They're clean. Like I saw these two guys, like I think he was like 15 years old, like a 15-year-old and like a 25-year-old dude. And the 25-year-old dude, he was just a normal like white guy, whatever. He was talking about how he has a black belt and stuff like that. He was still in the introductory class and he got on the mat. This little kid, Hawaiian kid, like Polynesian, like classic, super skinny, like thin, like well-built, kind of tall. He starts letting him do his thing, like lets him move around and stuff like that. And like, he couldn't outpower him because this guy's like a fully grown man against a kid. So he's like letting himself work out, like in his mind, like you couldn't, I didn't know what was going on, but he beat him so easily. It was insane. So for 5 minutes, they're running around. And then that last minute, he comes out of nowhere and just full send, full gas, everything like that. He pins this guy like a disrespectful pin, arm behind the back, face in the mat.
He's making you look soft.
And it's I think like you have to bring that respect, because he didn't bring that respect at all, because he was just trashing him. He was slamming him to the mat, and like you want to go you want to go full send, you're gonna get full sent back. And like in this guy, I never saw him again.
Right. So it's so funny because sometimes I feel like I've lived a million lives and I've only lived 40 years. I've done martial arts. The first motherfucker who starts to roll out his creds is the worst person in the building.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like look how shiny my medal is.
So I did a lot of martial arts when I was a kid, right? But I couldn't, the time and the dedication that it took to master them, I found it more fascinating learning different styles, right?
Yeah.
Even if I didn't master them, my brain, I was like, man, this is dope. Let me try this. And this is dope. I was almost like a kid in a candy store. And coming across all of those different breeds and styles, I always found that the dudes that ran their mouth was soft as shit.
Yep.
I would always, anytime I went into a shit, I would always downplay my shit. Mm-hmm. I would never, because I didn't want to look like a punk, right? Because if you start saying you do this and you do that and they choke you out, like homeboy, you didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a real dude that's dope doesn't get choked out.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Right. So 80% of the real G's are not getting choked out, right? Because I was telling somebody, and I think you'll find this fascinating. I was talking to a friend of mine who was also on the podcast just recently, and shout out to Lucho. Him and I would go to New York studios, right? So martial arts studios, and pay the day fee and choke out all the white belts.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But him and
Weird flex, but all right.
But it wasn't a flex. It was more, again, what the Polynesians were doing, or the Hawaiians, right? I wasn't going in there to choke dudes out. I was going there to roll.
Yeah.
I wanted different challenges. I wanted to roll with a big guy. I wanted to roll with a small guy. I wanted to see. Like, I'm sure at times there was a level of cockiness, which I think it's Matt Serra, or I forget what his
Matt Serra, yeah.
He choked me out.
The shark, yeah.
He choked me out.
Yeah.
He was in the building. I was talking about a bunch of fucking white boys, white belts out. Excuse me, not white boys, white belts. And homeboy came in, helicopter, armbar. Fucking came in, triangle choke. Like, no matter what I did to him, I gave myself up.
Yeah.
If I pushed, I was done. If I pulled, I was done.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case with the other white belts. I was smoking fools. But we used to go around, but we always stood humble. Even though we knew we had talent,
Yeah.
I never was like braggadocious and stuff. I mean, I've done Japanese martial arts, and I've done, I said Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I've done Chinese martial arts. I just want to make sure so I don't have to re-edit this shit so much. And always from a respectful place. Hey, you do stuff? Well, a little bit. You know, I don't really know. But you'll see the guy come in for that one day type of shit. And I thought it was funny that you were saying that, because I've seen those dudes, because I'm there just to roll. I don't give a fuck. First of all, the idea of belt is a joke, in my opinion, because if you're that technical, that's why you have those little slashes around the belt. You're always learning. So even though you're black, you're like 17,000 degrees, because even though I'm black, you still got to keep learning. It's the great thing about the martial art is it's a flow. It's a circle. You're always improving. You're never the best.
Yeah.
You don't stop and be like, I made it.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm the number one.
And so the moment some cocksucker comes in the building and he's like, well, I bow. I'm like, you don't even understand the concept, kid. Mm-hmm. You don't know what it is.
And I had to roll against that same kid.
And tell me, did he treat you differently in the sense of like he waited and let you struggle?
He didn't say much. He didn't say anything at all. He was working. So like, he's working. I shook his hand. I'm like, hey, my name's Calvin. Like, that was pretty funny what you did to that guy. And he was like, yeah, thanks. Like he was pushing me around a lot, and I got over it. And I'm like, yeah, man, that sucks. I'm not gonna try to do that. Mainly because I don't want you to put my arm
behind my fucking head,
behind my fucking knees. And
But you enjoyed how he flowed. So that's the only way to get good.
Yeah.
It's almost like real life. That's what I love about martial arts, bro. Jiu-jitsu is interesting because jiu-jitsu is very, very intimate. And there's no way to really explain. Just keep rolling.
Yep, just keep going.
When you get good dudes, even though you get smoked, you're still learning. Because the next dude that's lower than that level, you're going to smoke him.
Yeah.
Because he taught you those locks, those manipulations, those whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Well, what really helped me is he's like, I've never been taken down some of those ways. So I know a lot of like locks. So like a leg lock.
Like American wrestling?
American wrestling, yeah.
So single leg, double leg.
I showed him the simple toe, like it's a toe lock. So it's super easy and it can hurt, especially if the person doesn't want to go down. It'll just hurt them. It won't take them down.
So if you shoot in, what are you going for with this toe lock?
It's like they shoot in and then they sprawl, right? So they come back down.
Correct.
And then what you do is you stand up and then immediately go back down, go for the ankle and push if you get that leg over.
Because your knee doesn't fold backwards.
Yeah. So they want to step back, but they can't.
Right. Because you own the leg.
Because you own the leg and then they fall over this way.
Got it.
Or they can fall over that.
Right. Whatever the body decides to do because the knee is locked.
Yeah. You lock the toe. And it's not that you're bending it, but you're just holding it in place.
So we shoot in, they push us down, right? Mm-hmm. As we pop up to try to re-engage, that's when you literally are shooting for, again, the second shoot is to the toe, and that's where you grab it?
It's to the foot. It's to the foot. You want to grab the foot.
Yeah,
it's called a toe hold because if you bend the toe in the right way, it's enough pressure to where they're going to want to come back. So they'll get away from you.
The manipulation on
and then they fall over.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Because that's what you need.
Yeah.
My favorite move of all time is the single leg takedown.
Yep.
Hoist Gracie fucking perfected that shit. Mm-hmm. And when I seen it as a kid, I was like, it's unstoppable. To be honest with you, because if I grab a hold of your leg, you're done.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. You can't stand up. And I thought that was fascinating when I see some dude in a fucking gi beat up all these other guys who were just kicking dude's ass. And this guy's like, no, I'm just going to close the gap. And once I close that gap, it's a wrap. Because now I'm going to break your arm, or I'm going to choke you out, or I'm going to grab your knee, or I'm going to go, whatever it is, it's very joint manipulation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, jiu-jitsu is the art of folding clothes with people still in them.
100%. So is judo. The only thing with judo is you throw motherfuckers more.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, it's like, no, I'm going to strangle you or I'm going to snap something and you're done.
Yeah. Judo is like, I want you away from me.
Right.
I don't want you in my bubble.
Yeah. So it's like, you come at me, I'm going to take that force. And to double it down on that, Aikido is really good at that because it's just like, get away.
You disarm, throw away.
Yeah. You're done. I'm not, basically when I threw you, I snapped like all the bones in your arm. So you're not coming back. Right?
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is very personal. Like, no, motherfucker, you got me really mad now. So now I'm going to choke you out with your own jacket. And you're gonna fucking hate life.
Yep.
Right. And that's what I really, really found interesting about jiu-jitsu. I didn't think we were gonna get into martial arts and MMA in this one. This is pretty sick because I think I was talking about a little bit with my last guest. I want to see. I was trying to see where I wanted to jump back on. Actually, I think because we got to set up like this, I'm gonna. Actually, no. We'll go right in. I'm gonna take a little longer. So we go back to Paradise, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You said that you could do the island in a circle. It had to be dope though to be able to have such access with the bike. Was the bike more user friendly than having a car on the island?
In my opinion, yes.
Because you're a single dude. You're just rolling up.
Single dude. I'm rolling around.
You don't got no kids, no fam.
Nothing.
Right? And then some of the spots that you could take advantage of, you could fucking, like you said, your shit was higher. It was almost like dirt bike / right?
Yeah.
Motorcycle
Cruiser.
/
Yeah.
You know,
it's like
super speed / you know, all these different things. So because your shit was higher up, you were able to have more access and your bike didn't get as beat up. Right?
I had a skid plate. So I like.
But I mean, like you were saying that other vehicles would probably take more abuse.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's no way you could have took a Kawasaki through the fucking side of the road.
Yeah, like a Ninja, the bike I had before I moved out there. Yeah, I'm really glad I sold that thing. I love that bike.
So hold on, this is so dope. So I've never ridden a motorcycle in my whole life. That's why you know what I
keep
think
it that way. You have kids now.
I know we're gonna have to talk about this. I think this is gonna be such a multi-folded conversation. So I'm gonna go back. I'm going to leave it on this real quick because you can keep hitting that fucking pen, you fucker. Favorite scene in The Matrix. And then the second thing is, why is The Matrix your favorite movie?
Okay. So definitely the favorite scene is when Morpheus and Neo are fighting in the simulation, the first simulation.
You're gonna say that fucking cliche scene, bro? Now I know Kung Fu, bro.
Now I know Kung Fu, exactly. But what it shows is that even when you have access to the technology,
It
when you
doesn't
have,
matter.
it doesn't
Right.
matter because
Yeah.
your mind
Right.
is what pushes you over.
Actually, that whole sequence is amazing. I think the best part of that whole sequence is when they go to the rooftop jump.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is more evident in that.
Yeah,
It doesn't
exactly.
matter that you know everything. I have experience.
Yeah.
And that's what Morpheus was, I think, subliminally, at least in my interpretation of how I watched that scene. You can tell me differently. Because it was like, oh shit, you killed in the martial arts, right? You know Kung Fu, you know Tai Chi, you know all this other shit, but you can't jump against the roof. If your mind was totally free,
Yeah.
now you should be able to do everything, and you're the one. So you're fucking up. That means that there was self-doubt, there was self-limitation, there was all of those things. And then you have like the whole crew, because they thought he was the one, panning like no one's ever made their first jump. He's going to make it because he is the one.
Well-
and it showed even though that you're the one, you still might not make that jump.
So Morpheus kept saying that he was the one because that's what Morpheus thought.
Right. That's what the Oracle had sent a message that he would find the one.
He would
which
find
is
the
why
one.
he thought Neo was the one.
So well, we can get into that to a little bit, but mainly the
We're
jump scene. The jump scene.
I want to go back to the jump scene before
The
we take a
jump
break.
scene. So
How
he
you
could
seen
see that it was possible.
Right.
It
When
was-
he does, right. When he sees Morpheus do it, that's another thing too. And I don't mean to cut you off. Faith, sight by faith is different than sight, right? By someone else doing it
Yeah.
or by you doing it, right? Like you basically have to have faith before anything can happen. And he's seen it. He's like, if that fucker could do it.
Exactly.
So please continue.
So as Morpheus jumps, right, he makes it, right? Neo now has that knowledge that it's possible, but he also has the knowledge that he's not going to make his first jump. So when he jumps,
Was he told that? That's actually interesting to go watch. You think he knew that?
so we might have to look back into
Yeah, we have
it.
to go back. We should do fucking some crazy Matrix fucking podcast. But that's actually interesting to know because it was almost like what she told him about him breaking the vase.
Yeah.
Would you have broken if you knew? So it's almost like the same way, right? If you knew that you couldn't make it, that's already in your brain,
Yeah.
right? So what you're saying that he freed his mind watching Morpheus do it, but potentially because what you think he knew that it was impossible, that kind of still was relevant.
To him, it was
Right.
impossible. No matter if he just saw it, no matter if someone told him that he was in his mind when he jumped about halfway,
He gave up.
he went straight down.
Right, I remember that.
You know,
like for a second, he was like, "I got this."
it looked like he was going to make it, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, he just lost all momentum because halfway through, he was like, "I'm not going to make it."
Right.
And then so he
Wow.
didn't make it. And
That's why that movie's so dope. Keep going. Keep gushing.
Yeah, and-
But I'm just gonna gush. That movie has so many lessons. Continue.
so if we're continuing on Matrix,
No. I want you to double down on the jump and that might have been the grand finale, but we'll leave it a little bit at this. You know, watching that scene and seeing Neo make the jump with exuberance and not finishing it, how to you was that pliable into your life, or how did it affect you, or how did you see it? Because obviously you love that movie, and obviously you understood that non-belief didn't take him to the next level. Did you pull anything from that watching that movie?
I
in
connected.
that part.
I connected with it. I've connected with it. I didn't know why I enjoyed that movie so
I think-
much.
You know, so funny. You know how when you be like, you should go see movie A, and they're like, movie A sucks, and then you be like, you should go movie B, and they're like, movie sucks. I don't think anyone has ever said The Matrix sucks.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
And you could say the sequels suck, but you know what?
Right, that's what you could say.
You
That's
still
all you
watched
could
them,
say.
didn't you? You
Well,
still wanted
first of
to
all,
know
those
how the
fuckers
story
made
ended.
a lot of money, whether it was Keanu or the Wachowski sisters. They cleaned up on that fucking franchise, bro.
That's the dream.
Fuck,
That's the dream right there.
And it's so weird. And we'll dip out on this because we're definitely gonna go back to it. I don't know if it was a lack of media, but when I went to go see that movie in the theaters, I knew nothing about this movie. I don't know if you was aware because maybe Comic-Con in San Diego and you being from here, when we seen that movie, we went to the shit. Like, movies are very special to me because it kind of reminds me of my mom. My mom always took us to see a Friday or Saturday night movie. She worked all the time. She was very busy. But one of the things she always did was movie night. Whether it's we played it at home or we went. And so movies always have a great place in my heart. So before we switch lanes really quickly, The Matrix, we got for you to understand some of the things. The favorite part thing or the reason why the movie is your favorite is because of that jump scene, or why is it your favorite movie?
So one, I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan.
Right.
I love all his work, Bill and Ted, all that stuff. Like,
yeah, it's better when right. Both.
I like the movie because it's action packed, and I got to watch it with my dad. And my dad, growing up, he was always working, kind of like similar with your mom. He was always working, and we watched.
Isn't that weird, right? Like that was that. No, not he was weird. That was weird where the small moments that we were able to share was something cinematic.
Yeah.
And to have that influence, right? Because I remember seeing with my mom. And that's what I was trying to say before the fucking tape ran out. But go ahead first, and then I'll tell you my Matrix story.
So the reason why that scene clicked with me, and I never knew why I enjoyed the scene so much, because it was so much what was going on in my life, and what's been going on in my life ever since I've seen the movie. I always thought I wasn't good enough. I always thought I wasn't going to make the jump. It wasn't until I freed my mind where I started making jumps.
Right.
And I started overshooting.
That movie's like so many fucking metaphors. It's so bananas because, again, another shout out to, and we'll give him a different shout out, but Uncle Salty, we were talking about it, and he's like, dude, because I told him, I was like, you do not bend your mind, you bend the spoon. And it was such a great connection, because he was like, dude, that saying was my ringtone on my phone. So I already knew I was in the same vein with someone, right? Like,
yeah.
I think that if I can talk to someone and they say like, hey, this is my favorite movie, or this was something that was very compelling to my life, I think that you're in the same wavelength that I'm in a little bit, because I kind of feel like that. Like, I feel like I still watch that movie and still learn shit as many times as I've seen it.
And I think
it's weird.
The biggest one is at the end of the end of the first one, Neo's not the one, but he still does it. He still does what needs to happen.
Hold on. Let's rewind this tape. So that's how you interpreted it.
That's how I interpreted it. Yes.
That he wasn't the one, but he wasn't the one. Freed his mind enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So they all were capable of it. Yeah. But because he really thought it.
Well, it's not that he thought it. He couldn't think anything else. So
yeah, tell me how you see it. Yeah, okay.
So
that's different. I like that. That's interesting. Go.
So he's not the one.
Right.
That's what the old lady tells him.
Right. As soon as she said that, I was like, this movie sucks. The homeboy's not the guy. No wonder he can't climb the scaffolding. No wonder he can't jump over, because I think they did a really good job at hiding that. Because the moment that you knew even though you thought he was the one, but now you didn't think it, like, we basically took a ride through Neo.
Yep.
Right? All his pitfalls, we felt him go there, because everyone understood what it was like to take a shot and lose, right? Because that's the metaphor in that not making it. And you believe in the beginning, but somewhere along the journey, you take a shit and you just get fucked up.
Yeah.
And then to see him dodge the bullets, you're like, holy shit, hold on, wait a minute. Something else is different.
And
go ahead.
That was Morpheus telling him that he is the one.
Right.
He didn't know it yet, but something came out, and deep in his mind, he had someone who believed in him.
Right.
That's why you need. That's why you need friends.
You need the team.
You need the team. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger said this.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
He's not a self-made man. He says that.
Facts.
Because it implies the wrong possession. Right. The wrong impression.
No one makes it by themselves.
No, and if you do, it's lonely.
Right. By the way, can you leave a section on that for me? Like a corner, because I'm going on that board too. We're all going on that board. Do your thing, but just try to leave sound for me, because I'm going to get routined out. And it's funny, ladies and gentlemen, my wife is doing some whiteboard stuff for my kids, so we can get it together. But I want some space on the goddamn whiteboard, bro, because ever since I did fucking DMT, speaking of freeing your mind, I freed my mind.
Okay.
And I know I need routine.
Okay. Yeah.
And it has to be so thing that I have to take out the thinking of what my routine is. Right? Because that's a lot of work. If I have to think about what I got to do every day, it sounds like something stupid and small. But if I already know what it is, I just look. So if my bandwidth is already full, I got to empty the hard drive.
Yeah.
So that I can allow other things in. because this is one thing that consumes me. What am I going to do today? How am I going to do it? What time am I going to do it? And usually I don't think about it like that. I'm like, fuck, I got to do this and this and this. Good luck if it gets done.
Yeah.
Right? We got the whiteboard in the building. I'm fucking all in, bro. I've been fucking doing TMT like it's going out of fucking business. Not because I'm trying to get lit, but because I'm trying to control the inner thing. And as much as she gives me the face, she knows that I'm in, bro. Since I've done that shit, bro, like it wakes me up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that I'm like, no. What you were saying about searching, about being around people, when we're talking about off air, about being around people that push you. I don't know if I need people that push me, but I push myself. And I push myself drastically. And I've already known that these were the things that I needed to do. But after the TMT, it's weird. It was just like the affirmations were affirmated. I don't even know if affirmated is a word, but it was just like, dude, no, that what you would get it done, son.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got to operate at a whole different thing. I mean, I'm beasting today, but it doesn't seem like it's going to have to keep going in that thing because when you free your mind, you almost have a responsibility to keep it up.
Yeah.
Right? You know, you could be dope for an hour, but who's dope over 20 years, right? Who's dope over this? Who's dope over that? Like it's Morpheus shit, right? It's like homeboy. That's why Neil is the greatest, to bring it into what we were saying off air too. Neil is the greatest FNG on the planet. Because he's new to the team, right? He has to win everybody over. He has to do all of this shit. He has all these expectations. It's just like fucking life. You take a shot, you go through it, and you might have some dude. The only thing is that Morpheus was super poignant in saying like, I believe in you. You don't really get that. But Morpheus could be
that inner voice.
No, could be multisexual because you could say the inner voice for sure, but you could definitely say mom too. Because I feel like mom is like that moving needle that she kind of fucking knows everything.
Yeah.
Even though you want to admit it or not. I think it has to do more with the fact that women listen to their intuition more, so they develop that skill, plus the fact they give birth to people.
Yes.
That shit just changes the game.
And also a little bit in our society, when you're younger as a kid, ladies are given a certain type of, I don't want to say crutch, but they're definitely given a little bit more assistance. And we can argue it all day.
Sure. I'm trying to. When I do that thing, I'm just trying to see where you're going. Keep talking, so that I can see
where I'm going.
Understand what you're saying.
Where I'm going with this is that they get that reassuring.
Right. You're talking about psychological fucking hugs.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't get that shit.
No. You know what? And
or most guys don't get it. You're conditioned not to get it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be designed to, according to what they want to say, right?
Exactly.
You're an animal. And all you do is beat and I don't mean beat in the sense of like crushing pussy. I mean beat like we were talking about earlier. I win all fucking day.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
All I do is win.
There's nothing that you could do to my mind. There's nothing you could do to my body. I will continue to win because the drive is so fucking hard in me. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
Like a bad day don't mean shit to me. The fact that you took away everything doesn't mean shit to me. I mean, to switch lanes a little bit and to bring it to fucking religion and the Bible, they took away. I don't know how familiar you are with the story of Job.
Oh, I've read a couple Bibles. Yeah.
Okay, they took away everything from Job, and you know what Job did? I still love you, God. Job was like, "That's my man." Boom! I'll give you all back.
Just to see the devil wanted to see.
I wanted to see if you want to still ride or die with me if I fuck you. So that's the thing. Life is always fucking you.
I mean, I can't wait to the day where life no longer wants to fuck, it just wants to cuddle.
I think that's what happens when you die, bro.
Probably.
And it's like 2 minutes and it's all DMT and it's so amazing and it's amazingly euphoric. But outside of that, dude, I got this new thing. I've been fucking tapping into the spirits, bro. I really think from what I was doing with tea and everything, this is hell. There is no hell. No, watch. I'm gonna show you, right? And you can buy it or not.
This is California, not Georgia. Just throwing that out
Facts,
there.
I get it. Well, it's been hot recently, and technically, California is on fire, so I can make an argument that we are in hell.
Yeah, but we're still not in Georgia.
But me and Tab, we were looking at this thing, and bro, just like the being able to handle suffering and continue to move forward is a thing that I think most people don't understand, right? And expanding on that more, when I was saying about the DMT, it's like this is hell on earth, right? And so for me, the new shit I've been writing is only the good die young, bro. Right? If you think about it.
Only the good die young.
Right.
Because there's not enough time to be corrupted.
Right.
You know?
So I get it. Look, so I get that part, right? But I also believe the other part. They are literally taking these guys. Because this is the fucking thing. Because even if hell is bad, right? I gotta think is as bad as life. Right? In that concept, right? Like breaking it down like that. If I think heaven is good, there's nothing bad about heaven.
Yeah.
So earth life, let's call it, is closer to hell to me than it is to heaven. Because the closest you could get to heaven life is a beach.
Yeah.
That's it.
But even too much of a good thing is bad.
Right. That's what we were saying about earlier.
Yeah. So like even like that saying, the stairway to heaven. Right. You know, there's tons of songs on it and whatever. Even when you die, you have to go up a fucking flight of stairs.
It's not a big deal.
What are you talking about? You've had a full life.
I don't know. That's
you're going to say at the end of your day, you're not tired a little bit? I mean, because the last thing I want to do after I die is go up a flight of fucking stairs.
That's true.
It's an elevator to hell. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's an elevator. Okay.
Maybe they're trying to make you crawl for that last little bit. And if you don't walk those stairs, they take you on the elevator to hell because it's way easier to go down. And I'm not preaching at all.
Oh, definitely.
You know
not.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just really trippy, right? When you start to like understand and realize things like, again, with this whole Matrix shit, like I could give you greatness and you will be like, nah, I don't really like it. We can go back to the rat thing. You give these rodents
a utopia.
These accesses. I wouldn't say utopias because I think utopias removes things because you could potentially think sex period is a utopia, right? So we fucking the dudes and the bitches. Plus, if I'm fucking up dudes every day, this sounds fire. So not only
That's
right? Not only I can fuck guys up every day, I can on top of that fuck anybody I want, and I got all the food and all the drink. That's a beyond a utopia. That doesn't even make sense because a utopia is not negative.
But the best things in life are things that you have to work for.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. When you were bringing all that shit back, it's just trippy that you just solved your own answer. If you go, they still want to be like, bro, you got to walk these last 8 steps.
Yeah.
If you walk these last 8 steps, you're going to heaven. If you fall down at 6, you're done, son. And there's continually struggle, right? And even if it's written word or how real life is, our beings are just meant to go through fucking hardship.
Yep.
Because every time you give us the good shit, we don't want it.
Well, like, the people, like, there's a lot of, political climate going on right now. Who are the people rioting?
What do you mean by that? And I'm not trying to be an asshole.
No, who are these people that are rioting? They're the people that start the riot. They're not the poor people.
Okay, but wait a minute.
Like this is all subjective. Obviously,
Right, exactly.
everybody
Right.
has their own opinion on it. But if you look at it, it's always the people that come from this so-called privilege.
Right, no, that's 100%. That's 100% facts on that. I agree. You don't got to finish the statement, but continue. I agree with that statement.
Yeah. So like these people with privilege, they're like, these people are being oppressed. I'm not, and we can talk about that all day. Like I agree with you on that.
Right.
But rioting and looting is not the way to go.
Well, I can make an argument.
And they're the ones that incite it. Now, I'm not saying
that's the thing that I think is dangerous.
Yeah,
if it comes from facts, if you come from a place where it's happening because you have need, I don't think it's dangerous.
Yep.
The moment you have a negative conscious thought to execute it, that's when you're a problem. So I think provocateurs is an amazing way to sum it up. And it's not even the people that are truly interested because at the simplest level, it is being executed like that. There are peaceful shit.
Yep.
But there's this inner workings behind the scenes, that's some random fucking dude that shouldn't even be tossing shit up in the first fucking place.
Yeah.
That's tossing shit up just to incite shit.
You got a Chad out there just trying.
Oh my God, I love you.
Just trying to spite his father.
It's the same
My
fucking
aunt
person,
is named
bro.
Karen, so I stay away from Karen. I call him Betty's.
Fuck it. We'll take the Bettys because I know
fucking
Karen now is
Bettys.
derogatory, so we could probably own the fucking the likeness on Betty's. It's Betty's too, bro. It's whoever the fuck had it all good, and all of a sudden they're gonna be the voice of the people. I'm like, that's impossible for you to be.
That's not your place.
You're
Sorry.
wrong. You can't fucking talk about social justice warriors if you've never been worried about how much your rent's going to be for the next month because you can't afford to pay it.
They've never
Or you
struggled.
can't- right. Or you can't fucking put food in your fucking refrigerator. Or, your relationship is so bad, but you're stuck in it. Or you wanted to talk to this girl and you can't. Like, when you have access, that's the thing though, because it goes back to, which is funny that we're going to constantly fuck with this rat pendulum. The moment you get more, you just disrespect differently.
Yeah.
It almost seems like there's a better order when you don't give them nothing.
Yep.
Because they create. And creation, for whatever it is, does something to the soul that keeps the peace.
And we can even go back to the Matrix on this one.
Tell me, let's go.
So Morpheus gives him a pill, right? And Morpheus
That's
tells
the
him
greatest thing is the options.
the options. He had the opportunity to stay
Right.
where he was.
Right.
His life was hell.
But that was the thing. If he was gonna stay where he was gonna stay, right? Before, don't lose it. Of course I'm gonna take the other pill. His life fucking sucked dick.
Did it?
It did. Think about it. He worked at a job that he hated. He was a hacker by night. And he was selling whatever the fuck he was selling to feed whatever he was into.
Okay.
Right? It wasn't like when the other actor in the film, it's like, I want to come back, I want to be rich, and I want to be somebody important. I think that if Neo was in that position mentally, he would have chose the other pill. I think that it was easier for him to choose that other pill because his shit sucked. It's like living alone. It's like, bro, if I fucking told you and you're in Hawaii on your darkest days and I came through and I was like, bro, you could either stay where you're at or I have this other option. And this other option is, it's a no-brainer. If you're living in shit.
If you're living in shit. Now, maybe that's why they came to Neo, because his life was shit.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It was selected. That's why I think that people get mad about 2 and 3. And 2 and 3 are really trying to explain him.
Yeah. They're trying to explain
right
what's going on.
But you have to focus on how they explain him. Because if what you're saying, which I think is a new situation, which is Neo is not the one.
He's not the one, no.
He just believed enough that not that he became the one, he freed his mind for real. Like Morpheus told him enough that was like, no, this is possible. So it's beyond possible. So if the one can do it easily, then anyone can do it. It just takes one person to do it.
Exactly. He proved that you didn't have to be the one.
Right.
And that's what I took a lot in my life. I don't have to be the best looking. I don't have to be the biggest. I don't have to be the strongest.
So strange.
I don't have to
I don't
do
mean
these
what
things.
you're saying. Keep going.
No, but like this is
No,
what
I got it. I'm loving it. I'm just saying, like, I didn't see the film like this. It's so interesting to see how you took it.
And at first, I didn't see it like that. It wasn't until I had my big time of reflection to really understand
You're correlating it back
what
to
my
the film.
issue was.
Right.
I cared too much about the wrong things. I didn't care enough about what I was doing. So when I broke through that, well, basically the time alone broke it. When I broke through that, I realized that like the reason why I like these obscure things is because one, I'm a people watcher. Two, I relate to people way more than they'll ever understand.
So so funny. I sympathize with that so much, and I don't mean to interrupt you because I'm lit as fuck, but I feel the same way, dude. Like I'm about the people.
Yeah.
Like all I want to do is be around them, see them, talk to them. Like even though I'm okay with shoving myself in a closet for fucking centuries, like I could totally be a hermit or a social butterfly.
Yeah.
Like I'm comfortable with both. But the locking yourself in a closet comes with a lot of shit. And it's
You said it right there. You said like I'm comfortable with both, but which one do you prefer?
right. It sucks to be in the closet by yourself, bro.
Exactly. You don't want to be comfortable.
Right.
You want to be pushing. You want to be striving for the next
See, that's why
thing.
back to the shit with Tabby, the DMT, bro, we're not, this meat suit is a joke, bro. We're something else. And I'm not saying we're aliens, but there's an energy above us that won't make us quit. Even if you want to quit, the voices in your head are real. And it does not mean you're crazy.
No.
I was talking to somebody about this today. I said, why in the fuck do things say things to me in my mind? I didn't say anything. I wasn't talking. I wasn't thinking about the new video game I want to buy. I wasn't talking about the shit that I want to cop on Amazon. I wasn't talking about a camera I wanted. Some thought just was like, boop. And it sounded like a voice. It didn't come as a thought. It was spoken to me.
Yeah.
That's weird,
And
bro.
you got to free your mind. You have to free your mind, and it's different for every single person. So like when you see like these influencers are like telling people how to be good at things and how to be the thing that they lose themselves, the thing that they lose themselves in is that they're trying to teach you exactly how to be that, how to be good. And then I follow this guy on YouTube. He's Mr. Beast or Beast.
I'm surprised he was able to get that.
Yeah,
Because Homeboy's got trademark
everybody
beast mode. But that's what it is. Sorry, he's got the beast.
Yeah, he's got
I
beast.
think I've seen it.
How to Beast is what
Oh, How to Beast. Yeah, because remember, you got trademarks are a motherfucker. People own intellectual properties. That's why I had a lawyer on today, and I'm going to be grinding her out about that because it's crazy. Names.
And the reason I like his cast, I like everything that he does, is because he's not telling you how to do it. He's giving you tools. He's giving you cheat codes.
Right. Yes, that's all it is. I don't like the dudes that fucking act like it's a religion.
Yeah. And, you know, as he gets bigger, he might dabble a little bit into it, but I think he's done a really good job of holding to what his belief was. He's trying to help people.
That's what it is.
He's getting money. He's making a life for himself. He's doing fine. He's giving back.
Right. I think that's the thing. The tithing. The tithing. And if you make your business model pretty much about tithing, I think you get more than you make. The problem is that when you're broke, tithing is not that easy.
It's hard to give a bum $1 when all you have is $5.
One thing that I learned coming to California, tithing isn't only monetary.
That's true. Yeah.
Tithing could be time. Tithing could be love. Tithing could be an ear or a shoulder to lean on or listen to. When I came here, I was really strapped for cash, bro. I used to trade dinners for rides to Costco. That's how I know that tithing is different.
Yeah.
When you break bread with motherfuckers and maybe you can't, whatever, buy them something or bowl out. But if you can say, hey, come to my house and I'll make something and do that. Back to the tribal shit, to homeboys. That's why they have all those cooking thing, man. I'm telling you, there's something about breaking bread and getting fucked up that at our basic level is what we're about.
Yeah. And like I said, I've never been like a big drinker or a big I've always smoked and I've always done drugs.
Sorry,
14
Mom.
years strong, baby.
Yeah, don't fucking send this fucking podcast to Mom.
Oh, who do you think gave me my first fucking
Jesus
joint?
Christ, that's why you're fucking a beach bum. Go ahead.
Exactly. I just grew up in a different kind of house.
Right. I know. I get it. Listen, I wish. The only thing that I don't wish is that I'm glad I was born in the darkness.
Mm-hmm. And you see, the thing is that I came from a very good house.
Right.
I had parents who loved me. I had parents who supported me. To this day, they support me. The only thing I wish is that I had more time with them. Because I mean, they're still alive. Like I'm very thankful for that.
But we're talking about the time in the younger games.
Exactly.
Yes, I know.
They instilled some things that would
I already know because I missed it. I wanted my pops around all the goddamn time. That motherfucker was a problem. He was nowhere around. And my mom was never around. It was different. So now, he forced the hand. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I get you. And I wish that too. I'm like, and she does too. You know, so funny. Just to put you on some light, because I'm baby dialed in. They know too, bro. Mm-hmm. They know more than us.
Yeah.
They know, like homegirl right there writing on the fucking boards. So she's writing on the board, bro. Because they know more than we do. Right? We feel neglected and let out, but this is what they're doing to hold the fucking building down.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever the fuck they're going through, if it's fucking shooting dope in their arm or having 19 jobs, whatever they need to do to hold the building down, that's what they're going to execute.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny because you think about all of this stuff. Like a lot of people don't have the privilege of having parents. Because, they grew up in a
orphanage or they were given up at birth, type of shit.
Those things and stuff like that.
Or they were fucking, what is it called when both parents are dead? Orphaned, right? But like something happens catastrophic like that, that you get orphaned, right? Those are anomalies and fringy.
And then you look at the people that support them, like orphans, like that's so unfortunate because like there's a family behind them, or maybe there isn't. So that's why like everybody's about tribes, right? Like that's why I'm about tribes.
Right. It's weird. I just came to this fucking, I almost feel like fucking Moses. I'm not trying to brag.
And it doesn't matter whose fault it is. You know, like it's not my mom's fault. It's not my dad's fault.
Right.
It's my responsibility to get better, to grow as a person. You know, I was given a very perfect life. Perfect. No, I'm good. I was like, it was a beautiful life. My parents weren't around. I had tons of free time. I had nothing. I had no restrictions. I never had a curfew. I went to jail once because you can't apparently sell fireworks in California. I mean, I was trying to make money. All right?
Right, you were grinding still. Actually, you know, I find that weird. And we're gonna say that for the next episode, but I find it interesting how you have such a demonstrative work ethic in the sense of you coming from a lot of benefits, right?
Yeah.
Because I was a fuck off in the hood around buildings. I couldn't even imagine what I would be if I was on the beach all day, bro. Like, I was already a fuck off in some shit that even looked good. Like, it was definitely not Hawaii. And I was like, I am having a great time, not doing nothing. This is awesome. I'm going to fucking hook up with homeboy and homegirl and this and that. It's going to be doper. If I had that shit, I always think about that scene in Blow where they're on the beach and they're selling weed for the first time. I'm like, fuck. That would I probably would have been dead. I probably would have been dead if I had that much access early on. No bueno.
Well, I think I was lucky in that respect because I've always wanted more. I've always wanted more. If there's one thing that I'm a sinner of, besides all the other ones that I've done, it's definitely gluttony. I want more. And I don't want to take it from people. So I wouldn't classify that as greed. I want more. I want gluttony. I want to see how much I can get. That's why I love the restaurant business, because the harder I work, the more money I make. The more I make people laugh, the more money I get. The more
I feel like it's the only, or I shouldn't say the only, but it's one of the few things that the more you grind, the more you make, because there's no cap on the hourly.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's Peter Schrober. I forget what his name is, but he talks about that in the sense of not having a minimum wage, because the moment you have a minimum wage, you cap people.
Yeah.
So I could either pay you $1 an hour or I could pay you $5,000 an hour.
Yeah.
If you're wilding in the best way possible, then you set the wage.
Well,
versus having a minimum wage for everybody, so you could be a schmuck and show up and still get that money, even though I'm killing it and you don't deserve $15 an hour.
Yeah. Well, you look at the minimum wage, like the minimum wage should only apply to big corporations. And
well, that's what it usually does. Usually, right?
Because now you have, like, you think $15 an hour and you have a guy.
Well, we're in California, so you also have to think about that.
Okay,
too.
so we're in California. The minimum wage is $13.90.
Right. Fuck, bro. You go back east anywhere. You go to fucking Virginia right now. Those motherfuckers are making peanuts. Or you go to motherfucking Alabama at a diner. The young lady is not.
She's making $2 an hour.
Facts.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers are leaving pennies to cash out because they don't have the money.
Yeah. No,
right?
they don't.
Right.
But we're in an area that does have money. And we need to realize that San Diego is very much a flagship for California. It's a flagship for the West Coast. Name me 2 cities on the coast in Oregon.
None.
Exactly.
Right.
What about Washington?
None. Or Seattle. I'll give you that.
Seattle. Okay.
Right. And I'll give you Portland and Oregon, but that's only because I had time to think.
Yeah.
If you were fucking rapid firing, we got nothing.
Exactly.
I can name you like 17 cities in California.
I've been to Portland. Just now, I realized that it's actually on the water.
Wow. That's a trip. I didn't even know that.
I mean, it might not be. Like,
I don't even know what that means. I'm like, is it a city? Is it a water thing?
Like,
what is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
I've never been.
It makes sense.
I want to go. I want to go only because I feel like it's Canada-ish. And that means green and the same shit, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I think because I've been, suffocated by buildings, that now I want to see nature.
See, you say
Right.
suffocated,
Right.
But I enjoy the way buildings look because this is where I grew up. You know,
I get it. But listen, I'm the hugest architect. I love to draw. I get all that stuff. But there's something that happens by getting suffocated by it over the years. Like when you're constantly looking at blocks, the subliminals is not poignant. When you're constantly looking at fucking sunsets and trees and leaves, there's something, if we're going to argue that there's steps to heaven, then there's no way that nature is not a part of us. And it happens every time I see the ocean. I literally know that. I've always said this, but I've never said it out loud. The moment I look at the beach, I consider God, because there's only a God that can make this. Something so ridiculous, right? Like even when you try to do the math, the fact that there's a moon and it pulls the fucking current back and forth, the fact that there's parts of the fucking ocean they haven't even gotten to, they fucking know where we're at, like 70 fucking million miles in space, but they know jack shit about the water.
Yeah.
It's just a different thing. And when you see that horizon, that endless pool, I don't know, for me, it's just something that it was always in a Hallmark card, not so much visually.
Okay. And you'd look at like, so the number that floats around is like 5% of the ocean's already is unexplored.
Right.
You know, that's just because there's so much water.
Right.
There's just so much of it.
Right. Like it's consuming.
And the reason why they say that space is more, you know,
robust
is because we can take pictures of it.
Right.
But you can't take pictures through the water.
Have you ever tried that shit? It sucks. God bless GoPro because they figured out how to enclose it because it was a bitch prior to that.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, I feel like a lot of people like, so like you look at the influencers. Yeah. We were just talking about the influencers. I think everybody should start taking pictures. I don't think that you should supplement your good times. Like, look at me, I'm having such a good time, but take pictures. I think the biggest regret I have in my life is I didn't take pictures.
I agree.
I didn't take pictures.
As a photo enthusiast, not only do I like to take pictures and I want to take pictures, I think I got, I feel disillusioned now by them because I'm mad about it. But I feel like I need more water pictures.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Especially
no, that's not
we went
weird.
to this thing and we was in fucking Mexico and I got her fucking dad's thing and the fucking thing couldn't even tell me if we took a photo. So I was just fucking pointing and shooting. I might have got one decent vid of her and maybe one decent vid of, or one picture of that vid. You know, for me, I got jack shit. I like try to take it to myself and take it is distorted. It's all fucked up. It's all messed up. But yeah, I definitely think that the influence, but there are, it's just different. The thing is that eventually you become your own thing, right? Where like you could take, I forget, there's this guy, I think his name is McKinnon and he's a beast. I got to look him up and I'll show you them. He's a photographer and he takes some amazing photos, but his shit is like crazy. And then he teaches you about the amazing photos he took. And I think he's only been in the building as an influencer for like 3 years. But homeboy is obviously spending the dough. And that's the thing, right? Like, if you would have had a nice camera on your Hawaii trip, bro, and you worked on those photos, you could have sold those shits.
Yeah. Well,
right? Like
isn't
that bananas that now...
It's trademarked. So most of Hawaii...
What does that mean?
Most of Hawaii...
You can't even expose it that way? Wow.
You can try.
Wow.
But
they own that corner.
They own the corner through Shure. Their camera can literally see the hair on a fly. Your camera is from Walmart.
Right. Well, we're not talking about that camera. I'm talking about the camera that they have.
Yeah. So
you need that camera.
So that basically cuts you out. So
right. You can't be taking that shit with no fucking disposable Kodak fucking camera.
Yeah.
It's going to come out bullshit. But if you go up there with a DSLR or a fucking mirrorless.
Full frame.
And you go ham. Yeah. And you could do multiple shots where you just like bow. And you got a tripod and you figured out what you're going to do. And you know what's tracking. And you know how the sun's going to sit in the fucking water. You know, and then after that might not even be good enough because you still got to take it and manipulate it a little bit more. That kind of shit.
And the thing with Hawaii is beautiful, right? The water is so much nicer. The grass is so much greener. But the problem is that there's nothing around it. So you talk about green grass. I don't care. To me, I don't care about how green the grass is because you can water grass. It'll get greener. If there's nothing around the grass that keeps me like living and wanting to move up, it's not for me. And that's just a different personality.
Yeah. I got you. That I'm gonna be digesting for a few days, and then when we get you back on again, we're gonna break into that because I think that's really interesting. Like I said, back to the whole thing. I gave you paradise, and you didn't want it. So, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
we're
thanks for having me on.
We're definitely gonna fucking have you back. This was fun.
Yeah, no, this was good.
All right, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, stay healthy.